little bit more personal. Like you mentioned, Jackie works in the company too.
Yep.
So how do you kind of balance between the family and like, you know, business when you're working together?
I think I love it a lot. I really like the fact that she's now into it because I think it's really important to be passionate about what you do, but also it's kind of fun to have something to really be in together. Not just, you know, it's easy in life, you know, where you have a full-time job, you know, she's running to her work and I'm running to mine, and we don't know what goes on during the day. And then we come home and it's dinner and it's kids and dishes and cleaning, and then we go to bed and we wake up and do it all over again. Right? Now it's kind of like, you know, we're business owners together. And it's really rewarding because, you know, it's like I know what she's doing, I know what I'm doing, and I kind of feel more of a sense of we got each other's back. Because it's like, all right, I know you're doing a raise this week. So like, all right, like you got the microphone, like you're good, you know. Like, you know, when that settles though, like then you're gonna be back in the game. You know what we're doing. Unfortunately, this quarter we did like 4 raises, like all back to back. So I'm kind of running out of excuses. And then now, of course, with every raise, you know, I transfer we raise the money, we buy the asset, and then we give it to Jackie. Raise the money, buy the asset, give it to Jackie. So that you know, so it's like
she's been
she's been busy on taking the asset down, and then I've been busy just doing the next subsequent raise. So this quarter's been crazy. But you know, I think for all the better. I mean, we're putting 4 really nice assets in our portfolio. And that will be a very nice profit. You know, later on for us, and we kind of know that this is the long game. You know, it's nothing going to happen fast. And we can, you know, really take advantage of the opportunities that we're getting, and you kind of put your head down and work really hard so that you can have an amazing experience later. You know, and that's kind of where we're at.
And what is that amazing experience? Knowing that you guys, it's probably all worked out. I mean, in your head.
I mean, so I think that amazing experience is just being, you know, probably just being able to wake up and do whatever you want. You know, and just.
But I thought you already kind of do that.
That's true. Well, I do, but I'm also, you know, it's also, you know, I do what I want, but I also have an obligation to people and a responsibility to people, and that's, I think that's really been taking over a lot of, you know, options. But it's passionate stuff. I like doing it. And it's rewarding when, you know, you walk a property, you know, a 38-acre property, or you walk a 10-acre, 20-acre, or a you know, an 1,100 unit storage facility that you own and your wife runs. I mean, it's, and, you know, and you know, it's kind of fun to be, you know, kind of at the helm of that, and it's very rewarding, you know, financially and, you know, personally. We like to travel. I think, you know, that's great too, and I just think, you know, just the control of your life is what we're after. That's really what it looks like right now. It's out of control because there's just so much stuff to get done and so much work to do. But I see that, you know, as we hire people and put people into positions and get them trained and put together manuals for them to follow, I see that becoming more of a leadership transition role versus you know, I'm doing everything at the property level or at the capital raising level opportunity. So I see that transition kind of happening now, which is rewarding in itself.
So you have small children as well. You know, to balance this out, including Jackie working on this thing, because sometimes we know, like when we're in the middle of the race, it's kind of more it's flexible, but it's also you got to respond to investors right away. You know, a couple hours or whatever. You can go do an errand or whatever. But you know, like, is there any life hacks?
So always a process. So I'll give you a great example. You're responding to investors right away. I take that very, you know, I do as much as I can, but at the same time, I manage expectations. So we have a whole process that on the 15th of every month, every deal gets a communication. So Aspen Park self-storage, Black Diamond self-storage, Goldenrod, all these other ones get communicated to. Well, in order to send out a high quality email, it requires preparation before that.
Absolutely,
You know, second set of eyes, grammatical content, and then original content, and then, you know, maybe some more QC. So so whenever something feels like it's just out of control, we take a step back and we make it a process. So, if I want to get my investors' information out on the 15th, then as soon as that update goes out for the 15th, the next one begins. So from the 16th to the 4th of the following month, we are collecting pictures, we're collecting information, we're putting it in MailChimp under that deal. And then as soon as the 4th hits, all the property managers and construction project managers have to send their updates to Lauren. She puts it in the system. It gets QC'd by me for investor what they want to hear, right? And what's important, what's not. And then it goes to, and then after I put my touches on it, it goes to a person who's never seen the report. They can read it, make sure they can understand it. Then it goes back to me with those edits, and then I give it one last final sign-off, then it goes off on the 15th. So when an investor calls me and they're asking me a question, that's telling me one thing. I'm not doing a good job communicating.
Or the email goes to their junk box.
Well, I monitor to make sure everybody opens it. So I can see in MailChimp when they open their email. I know it sounds a little creepy, but
I think it's important.
It's important to monitor who's opening because you can see who's really interested. If they've opened it 6 times, like I wonder why they opened it 6 times, right? Or they clicked on everything that you had in their email. I think that's important data because you start learning who you're dealing with. The other thing I do for my investors is I do a quarterly conference call. And I every project for 30 minutes gets a call. I usually block an hour, but it usually only goes about 30 minutes. I give a quick update. Everybody can call in, and it's unmuted. People can ask questions. So I let people speak, and I let people speak in front of everybody. I don't hide anything, And in fact, the next thing that we're thinking about doing is we're thinking about creating our own forum. Our Spartan forum, where investors that invest get access to this forum, and then they can talk to each other. They can ask questions, and they can, in total transparency, talk to each other and see, oh, well, what do you think about this, or what, things like that. The other thing we do is I think we do something that nobody else does. So we make a financial reporting. If I send you a balance sheet or you send me a P&L and you say, oh, here's my balance sheet, here's my P&L, I can read it and I can see, okay, you got this much in your CapEx, you got this much here, you're making this much profit, blah, blah, blah. What I can't see is a comparison of what it should have been and what it should be. Like
a pro forma
versus actual, We send out a very consistent way of keeping people, keeping track of revenue, expense, NOI, and distribution. And we say exactly what it should have been on a chart. So you can see in dashed lines what it should have been, and a hard line of what it actually is.
Great.
So people can read that and go, well, we're doing better than expected. That probably eliminates 50%.
I think that's very important,
50% of your phone calls go away. Because everybody can go, oh, we're doing better than we thought. Or we're a little worse than we thought, but here's why. Okay, cool. So I take the approach of, how do I deal with all these investors calling me with offense, not defense, right? If you're playing defense, you're going to lose control of everybody, and it's
you have to 10 investors email you versus you just did one email.
One email every month, the same day, the same format, the same updates, and we've even promised our investors that we're going to do this by putting it in our operating agreement. So
do you block a day then do this? Because once you have 12 deals, let's say, I don't know how many deals you have. How many deals do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8 deals, right?
Yep.
So I have 7 right now. So it's gonna hit to a point where it's gonna be I feel like all I'm doing is reporting.
Sure.
So I'm guessing you'll find another system.
So in that case. I don't write the updates anymore.
Okay.
My property management people do.
Okay.
And
great.
my construction project manager is going to write their updates. The only updates that I write are the deals that I'm involved in. So go to your property manager and say, hey, property manager, I need you to say what the occupancy is, what marketing things you've done, what investor appreciation events you've done this month, and what things you have upcoming. And I need that report every month on the 4th.
Okay.
All right? And it's a consistent, repeatable process that you can continue to follow. And that person owes it to you to give that report to you. So if you do that, then you're not writing every report. And you're just collecting the same information, and the information that we collect and report is feedback that we've received from investors. What do you want to see in a report? And they've told us what they want to see. They want to see how was I thinking I was going to do and how am I actually doing. And I want to be able to see that in a way that I can tell in 10 seconds.
Got it.
You know, I don't want to read your 4, 5, 6 paragraph long email and try to understand if we're doing well or we're not doing well. And I think that's really important. And so it definitely takes some work, but more deals, more investors, more responsibility. So you've got to be accountable to that.
Absolutely. So back to the life hack. I think you still haven't shared with us. Like,
so,
what are...
so find tasks that are low pay tasks. Like a honey-do list. Everybody knows what a honey-do list, right? So find a handyman. And do your honey. And I mean, I had I have a guy. He's a really nice guy. Came recommended. And when my honey-do list is getting long, I hire it all out. Right. So I say, hey, come on over. I've got a list. I've got, I give you an example. I had to hang Christmas lights. I don't have time for that. Sorry, I hired it out. I had to, install a new thermostat. I hired it out. I had to hang pictures, hired it out. I had to redo some wiring in my house, I hired it out. So that's a life hack. Like if you find yourself cutting your grass, hanging your fixtures, doing these things on the weekends, you're going to fall behind. As an entrepreneur starting a big business with millions of assets under management. So hire it out. We do daycare. We found a daycare that is, we like, and the teachers are great, and our kid is probably getting a better, better education. We're also hiring an au pair. We have a landscaper. We have a house cleaner. And just you working your butt off, and you're creating a massive wealth. Why would you waste your time cutting your grass? Why would you waste your time? And don't get me wrong, I catch myself doing these things, and I get really kind of upset with myself. Why am I doing this? And I always stop myself when I say, well, I'm doing this. Okay, podcast. Earbuds go in. Podcast. Like if I'm going to be doing a $10 an hour, $20 an hour job, I'm going to be at least educating myself while I'm doing it. So it's like, Ryan, how did you learn all this stuff? Like, did you take a bunch of classes or some mastermind, or did you go to like Fortune Builders? Or no, I didn't do any of that. I took advantage of books that are on my iPhone, podcasts that are on my iPhone, webinars, and while I was doing honey-do list, maybe the viewer is thinking, well, I can't afford to hire all that out. Okay, we'll do it on the weekend. But do it with your earbuds in, listening to something that you would probably otherwise pay for and have to spend time going to and learning.
And you probably have a budget for this too. At this point, I'm going to hire this guy, and then so I have to make that much profit in the business.
Exactly. But also, don't think so much about the cost. Think about the revenue possibilities. Like if you can go out and raise $30 million internally, how much are you going to save from having to give up the GP or not get that deal done, or things like that? So. I always look at my weekends as like reloading. The week comes, Monday hits, and people are calling and email, and you got all this stuff going on and things to do. And the weekend is not the time to catch up on your house chores. It's the time to catch up on your business. And then so that way you're reloaded for the week. And of course, you need to go and you need to get out. You need to go hiking, or you need to have fun, or you need to travel.
How do you spend the quality family time?
So we try to it's a challenge. I mean, it's definitely. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, we have all this time together, and we do. I mean, but it is stressful. Earlier this year, we took a 2-week vacation and we unplugged. And that was really nice. And and when I plugged back in, I was kind of angry. I was kind of like, I don't want to go back in. But that's again a business, right? If you have somebody taking care of your investors that knows how to do it, then you don't have to worry about it. We did a $2.5 million raise this year while I was in Croatia. And my team did it. Because I built those relationships, and they knew what to do, and we have a process that they could follow. So they took care of most of the transacting in that, right? So I think that's why you want a business too, is because you don't want to always be the guy that's behind the wheel doing the deal. Right? That's no way to continue. Right. And then the other thing is I've done passive investing, and I know this is completely contradictory to what we're doing, but I've passively invested in other people with terrible experiences. So for me, you know, some people think, well, I'll just wholesale a bunch of deals and then invest it passively and I'll be okay. Well, either A, you're going to have to really watch what you passively invest in, and that's a full-time job in itself. Or B, they're not going to do a good job, you're going to be upset. Or C, your passive investment is going to turn into more work or lots of work. So you just really have to just be real with yourself and know that like not everything is as passive as people make it out to look and feel. So the family time, we like to travel. We'll go on, like Saturday morning, we'll get up early and go for a hike. We go to the Cascades, go for a hike. We like to, you know, we like to go and...
So compartmentalize, kind of like over there. Got it.
We like doing physical, you know, like laying on the beach or, you know, like getting out and hiking. We like to ski. We like to hike. We like to take our daughter. She goes to soccer on the weekends, and she does like the bounce house. And we do little gym during the week. You know, I think that her education and daycare and her schooling is important, and I think because it gets them socialized. We also look at travel, and then you know they get. I mean, I think she gets a really great experience. She gets to travel a lot. So. And that's good. So
now, interesting. Now you kind of talk about your daughter, right? So we kind of like some of our viewers are very interested in like how do you actually educate your kids financially and bring them up into someone who will have habits just kind of like yours. Now, going back to your 9-year-old, you were trying to give advice to your 9-year-old, and now you actually have a kid that you can give advice to. What would you do to kind of like prepare for her so that she becomes the 9-year-old that you wanted to be?
The one, you know, I always hear people talk bad about what my parents should have done this, and my parents should have done that. My parents were perfect. And here's why. Because I turned out the way I did. And the reason why I turned out the way I did was because they gave me an incredible amount of freedom. And they never made me feel pressure. They never made me, you know, my dad told me, hey, you can go to, like, if you can go to college, and if it doesn't work out, Ryan, just come home, and it's okay. You know, there is no, like, you got to be a doctor, go to this school, and get these grades. I mean, they encouraged me to do well. I mean, my parents both sacrificed heavily to send me to the best private schools and Catholic education. My mom shuttled me all over this planet to, like, put me involved in skiing and rowing and cross country and football and basketball and baseball and travel league and all this stuff. So they totally killed themselves to make it so that I had a great opportunity. You know, sure, I could sit here and be like, oh, my dad never taught me to, like, you know, the assets and liabilities. You know, but you know, at the end of the day, I mean, he taught me basic, you know, back of the napkin budgeting. Like, hey, if you make this much money and you spend this much, you have this much left over. You know, and after that, that's it.
There's
you
nothing,
know, right? So I mean, I think they're just really hardworking people. And you know, sure, I could sit here and say, man, I wish my dad would have just been like, son, don't cut the grass. Like
well, he may not have that wisdom back then either.
Exactly, and you know, and now that I'm a business owner, you know, I had the work ethic, you know, instilled in me, and that's what I'm most thankful for. If I didn't have that, then I wouldn't understand what it's like on the other side. And I probably wouldn't have the chops to get, you know, to work as hard as I do to get to where we are today. And that I'm forever grateful for. So if I were to go back to my 9-year-old self, or you know, my own kid,
or your kid, when, like, you know,
I would do a couple of things. I would give them the same freedom. Like, hey, if this doesn't work out, then hey, no big deal. If you fail, that's okay. Come back, try it again. You know, or do something else that works. So I would keep that. I would let them work hard, and then I just give them little tweaks. You know, like hey, you know, hey, that's a really cool thing you're doing with that, you know, arts and crafts stuff that you're doing. You should, you know, put it on YouTube. You know, and show all your friends, you know, and then maybe there's 1 million views and they get monetized or something, you know, kind of give them that, like, little, like, hey, like, you know, that's a really good idea, like, keep doing that, but just do it, like, maybe do it in front of an audience, you know, or, you know, and they're like, I don't want to do that, okay, fine, you know, it's cool. I also want to be very open and honest about financials. So, like, what does it cost to have a mortgage? How does dad make that money, and how does mom make that money? And how do we pay for what we have? Because it was like credit cards and checkbooks and all that. It was like all hocus pocus to me growing up. Like,
right.
Well, how does that work? So you just write a check and then it's paid for.
Yeah.
So just write a check, Mom, and it's all good. Well,
yeah.
understanding like that it comes out of a bank account, you have money in there.
You gotta put it in
well, that credit card you swipe, you got to pay it off.
Yeah.
And, if you don't, there's high interest.
Yeah.
So I think just making sure they really understand financial education.
Yeah.
I know this sounds repetitive with like Kiyosaki and everybody, but it really is important. I mean.
Yeah.
And making sure they get educated. I mean, I know that I'll probably regret saying, college education is important. I don't think it's everything, and I think it's going to change a lot in the next 10 years. But kind of make them understand that, like, hey, is that art degree? Like, that's good. I want you to have that, or that English degree, or the psych degree, or something that doesn't completely translate into monetary value. It's like, understand that you're taking on, this.
Yeah.
And, it's going to probably not give you anything but happiness in education. Right. So if you're going to do that, maybe pay for some of it on your own so that you understand that you're signing up for something that, or, like, let's go into this together knowing that what you're doing might not produce anything except happiness. And I think that's probably, understanding true happiness and understanding that it's not necessarily money that does that or wealth or anything like that. I really hope they get that message. I really hope that I can, do that the best. So, I mean, I would love to teach them, like, I envision, I hear podcasts, people talk about, like, my kid's going to loan me money, and then I'm going to pay them, like, a ridiculous interest rate. So they understand, like, what interest means. And, of course, I'm going to do that. And then I'll tell them that there's late fees if I don't pay on time.
Yes.
And then I'll intentionally not pay on time. Right. So like Dang, you didn't pay on time.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
what I mean? Like or like, there's collateral, so like if I default, then they can take back something, and then they'll do that and they'll learn that they like repossessed whatever I gave them, this collateral or whatever. But just I'll play games like that, and kind of have fun with it. And but just get them just to find what they enjoy doing and let them do it.
So we're gonna get into some regular questions over here. Can you kind of tell us what was some of the failure? Maybe pick one project what the failure was, right? And then
sure.
How did you kind of get over it and move forward?
Okay, so I think when people do flips, they fail in two ways. Number one, they buy it wrong. And it never was going to work from the start. Or two, they're operationally disastrous. And they think that they had all these surprises come up, but really it was just their lack of education, lack of experience, lack of planning, and just overall attentiveness to the project.
Right.
So when you have a loss in real estate, usually it's because you had two things go wrong.
Right.
You didn't buy it right, and you didn't operate it right.
Right.
So there's mistakes, but there's also stupidity. So I think what we've done well at Spartan from the start is we've never bought wrong. We've always made sure that there's value packed into the deal up front. Now, having said that, we have made a colossal amount of operational mistakes.
Right. Okay.
Like tons. Right? And one project in particular, I won't give an address. Was so bad. I mean, we hired the wrong contractor. We hired the wrong architect. We didn't budget enough money. We didn't we didn't have the systems in place to really do a good job. But we made $850,000 in about 2 years. So a lot of people would look at that and go, "Holy cow, you made a lot of money. That's a great deal, Ryan." But we made every possible mistake in the book except the one thing that I said at the beginning, which is we bought it right. So I think if you're just getting started, don't just go run out and buy a project. Don't just dive in and do it. At least understand that what you're getting is a good opportunity. And then make all of your mistakes after that. So, the thing that helped me get through it was we had made every mistake. Everything was going wrong. The building caught on fire. The place leaked. The bank threatened to stop doing draws. The investors were, agitated because it went longer than expected. The neighbors were pissed off. The contractor was pissed off. There was a lawsuit. There was all kinds of things that went wrong. But really, at the end of the day, it was like, you know what? There's a ton of equity in this project. And if we sold it today, we would make profit. And it's enough equity to maybe justify the pain that I'm going through to get it done. What really is not fun is when you run out and you think you just got to dive in and take massive action on buying something.
Yeah.
You buy it completely wrong, and then you make all your mistakes, and now you have a massive loss.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's any excuse for it.
Yeah.
Now, if your whole strategy is like, I'm going to go buy a bunch of stuff and make a bunch of mistakes, and then I'm going to refine, and then I'm going to be flawless, because then I'm going to be like, hey, I made all these mistakes, like just a colossal amount of mistakes, and now I'm good. That's great. You know, that's another strategy. You know, I know that you guys subscribe to the ready, fire, aim.
Yeah.
We're ready, aim, fire.
Yeah.
And it's two different philosophies, right? We really want to make sure that we hit the target.
Yeah.
And because we know that once we hit the target, we're going to make all kinds of mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've really, I mean, we still continue to make mistakes. We've got all kinds of problems, but at least we've bought the deal right. So, like, if things go bad, we've got the budget to do it, we've got the equity to do it, we've got options.
Yeah, the buying it right is very important, I would say. And sometimes it's also a strategic way for you to kind of see the full picture, right? So sometimes it may not make sense for someone to say, because you don't want to be sitting on the sideline either and not doing any action. Yep. And I think a lot of it is being too creative, because a lot of people, I heard people say, well, I can't get any deals, etc.
It's not true.
And then, you get tons of deals, right? Yep. So, like...
But it was very, it was very, very dry in the beginning. People were like, "Oh man, I got all kinds of deal flow." Like, "What do you mean you don't have deals?" We were in the same boat.
Right.
It was like, "Oh my God, we can't find anything that meets our criteria."
Right.
Ben, being our acquisitions guy, super frustrated because we couldn't find anything that met our criteria.
Yeah.
And then finally, we started making some headway and figuring out how to be a little bit more creative.
Yeah.
But I just stress that was really what Scott really upholds the keys to the kingdom here, because he's like, we don't want to buy garbage. Yeah. And his attitude was, I can just go work a full-time job and make money. I don't need to do a deal to make money.
Right.
He's like, and that was our whole philosophy from the beginning. It was like, you know what, we don't need to go out and spend our weekends flipping a house and make $30,000.
Right.
Like, why would we do that? Right. Why would we give up all of our weekends to make $30,000 when we can just pick up some overtime at work and make that?
Right.
It just didn't make sense to us. So it's like, if we're going to do this, if we're really going to spend our time on something, there's going to be a significant profit.
Yeah.
And I think Sam Zell says it best, where he says, if the downside is greater than the upside, don't do the deal.
Right. Correct. Yeah, that's kind of like the balance we always do it as well.
Yeah. This project right here, Black Diamond Self-Storage. We bought the land for $550, where our cost basis is $1.3. Yeah. At $1.3 all in, right? That's our downside. If we lost everything, we'd lose $1.3.
Right.
We just got an offer for the property for $4 million.
Wow.
So our downside is less than our upside. Our upside is 2.7. Our downside is 1.3. Yeah. Do the deal. Yeah. If we build the project, it'll cost us $12.5 million project cost for a $25 million valuation. Right. Your downside is less than the upside. Right. So do the deal. Yeah. Goldenrod RV Park. Right. Our cost basis is $2 million. Right. Our upside is to sell it for 4.5 to $5 million. Right. And our downside less than our upside. So that's what when we look at a flip and we say somebody's outlaying $700,000 to make to sell it for $900,000. Right. That your downside is significantly larger than your upside. Yeah. Right. And some people look at it and go, well, that's a 20% return, right. So that's really good. But they don't realize what they're risking when they do that. And sure, the market is stable, and they're they're in Seattle or whatever. Yeah. But we just don't do deals like that. Yeah,
kind of like buying right now. The market's high, so it's probably have more downside than the upside. Exactly. So when we selected things, we're more focused on preserving our wealth, being in a good neighborhood.
Sure.
Based on the data that suggested. Majority step bankrupt.
That's a great.
They're in the bad location.
That's a great philosophy. Yeah. Our philosophy is get our hands a little dirtier with a little bit more value add opportunistic, and that's our threshold. Cut some more expenses because it's all. Yep. Yeah. Basically. So that's kind of where we look and we just discipline it, and I think they say discipline your disappointment, which is essentially. Yeah. Like you're going to look over a lot of deals, and you're going to spend a lot of time, and they're going to fail, or you're just not going to find deals that work. Right. And so that's just been our company's philosophy. I mean, even when we were flipping houses, our first flip was a $100,000 purchase, $160,000 rehab, $260,000 downside. Yeah. We sold that for $550. Yeah. And people were like, "Oh my God, that's impossible." Then we did it again, and did it again, and did it again, and did it again, and it was because we were so disciplined in what we bought.
Yeah.
And you know, and again, it didn't end up that way, right?
Yeah.
Like we had cost overruns, right?
Yeah.
We had all kinds of stuff. We still made profit because of the, you know, the ultimate thing. And it's great to make mistakes. I just don't think that you should be making two kind of 30,000 foot view mistakes, which is I suck at operations. We all know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And everything always costs more.
Yeah.
And takes more time than you think.
Right.
Every single time. And I tell all my investors that it's like, hey, this is a 3-year projection and it's going to earn this. But here's the thing. It's development. It's always going to take longer than I'm telling you, and it's always going to cost more.
Yeah, you always pivot. Yeah,
and you never know what's going to happen and what's going to pop up and things like that. So,
great.
Yeah.
So next standard question is, what are some books you would recommend? If there is a single book that changed your life view?
I mean, Rich Dad Poor Dad. But you know, if I have to think of another book, I really like the book. We read it in the beginning. Skipping my mind right now, but I love the book. What's it called? You've got the manager, the back office, and the what's the name of that?
E-Myth.
E-Myth.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That was one of the first books we read.
Okay.
And I think it really just set the tone.
That really helps.
Yeah, kind of like, oh, I'm being a manager right now.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I'm being the entrepreneur right now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm being the, what is it called, the technician.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, just kind of understanding those roles.
Yeah.
That, like, a business needs all three was really important to me because, like, the guy that wants to just go out and do deals and, you know, drive around and look for houses and stuff, like, it's like, oh, I know what I'm being right now. Like, that's, you know, versus, like, coming up with the system to, like, just letter those houses automatically. Yeah. Like, that's, you know, kind of where you need to be as a technician, you know, or, you know, a little bit of entrepreneur, a little bit of technician, a little bit of manager.
Yeah, so what are you?
What am I? I'm definitely the entrepreneur.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I dread doing, I call it, you know, bits time, right? Button seat. You know, you just gotta sit down and just hammer out emails and hammer out all this stuff. I hate it. I don't hate it, but I just, you know, I'd rather not do it. I'd rather go out and meet 10 people or give a presentation or something like that.
And have someone else answer the emails. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Great, awesome. I think that's about it. Kind of wraps up our segment. There's just like so many more interviews I could do of you, Ryan. Yeah. Because every single part of it is like very fascinating. Sure. But I think this kind of like gives us a really good, you know, folks' views over here. You know, be able to kind of like tap into the great mind's thought about how you build the companies and all that sort of stuff, which is going to be really essential for anyone who wants to scale. Yeah. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing the interview.